If you ever second guess yourself about taking your 3D characters further just because it all feels time consuming or maybe a bit too complicated, this series is for you. I'm going to show you how to quickly create a base mesh in Character Creator 5 and take it all the way to render in Marmoset Toolbag 5 with an automated setup. And all of this while jumping into other creative bits like ZBrush for sculpting and creating accessories and texturing in Substance 3D Painter so that we can really bring our character to life. Hey, what's up guys, Pablo here. Welcome to this Character Creator 5 pipeline mini-series. There are a bunch of really cool new features that have been added to CC5 or Character Creator 5. But I want to demystify a little bit of the entire pipeline. So that's the purpose of this mini-series. I'm going to show you how to tweak and create a really cool custom base mesh all within CC5 with some simple controllers and obviously show you some of the new cool features that have been added. Then we're going to take it into ZBrush for detailing, adding accessories, creating basically the whole sci-fi suit that I'm going to do for this character. Then we're going to jump into Substance 3D Painter and we're going to create PBR textures. We're going to try to create something of really high quality and then bring it back into CC5 and put it all together before we automate the process to send it all into Marmoset Toolbag 5 and render our character there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to try to pack as many tips and tricks as I can, but the fundamental part is the pipeline, how to utilize the connection between the software and the automation that CC5 now has so that you can basically use any other software so that you can bring your character to life. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it. All right, let's kick off this new project using Character Creator 5 and check out some of the awesome new tools that are now available. So to start, go to the Actor section, then to the Content tab and open up the Character folder. And within it, there is this other folder called the Mixer Ready. Since my character will be a male creature, I'm going to choose the HD Aaron file, which is one of the new ones, as the base. And all you need to do is drag and drop it into the viewport. Perfect. So right away, I like to remove anything that I'm not going to be using from this base mesh. For example, in this case, the boxer's geometry, I'm just going to delete that. And this will be our base mesh. But what's great about CC5 is how much you can actually customize it. So head over to the Modify window and click on the Morph tab. That's the third one from the left. And here you can adjust any part of the body with the sliders to completely change the character's shape. Personally, I prefer to leave those sliders alone and instead make sure that the morph switch is enabled, this one here on the UI, and then just use the viewport. Hover over any part of the mesh and you'll see the highlight in yellow and just click and drag to adjust it. So for example, I can click on the neck and drag it from left to right or up and down and change the thickness or the length of it. That's cool and all, but here's what's new in CC5 and some of the things that I find really useful. From the first tab here in the Modify window, the Settings tab, you can find the Actor Mixer button. Just go ahead and click on it and a new window will pop up. Select Current since, we already have a character loaded and just go ahead and hit Start. This opens up the new Actor Mixer window and here you can get a really handy sort of radial visual reference controller to adjust everything at once. You can mix the full character, just the head or just the body. I'll choose the body and then click on Start Mixing here at the bottom. Now you can drag the little green dot in the center towards any different body shape. Even find an in-between position to mix different styles. Maybe a more stylized or more muscular body. It's totally up to you. I'll go with something around the top right area. You can also tweak the body ratio and the rig proportions as well. Just use these buttons here at the top and it's the same process. Just move the controls around and that allows you to adjust the bones quickly while keeping the chosen body style or whatever you have done previously. Then in the next icon, the body shape, you can adjust the definition of the body. So from fit to stylized or maybe like an older character or soft body shapes if you want to go for a more stylized character and that sort of thing. Then we'll move on to the head mixer, which is another really fun area to explore. There are a lot of zones, very, very specific zones to mix in here. So I'm going to start with the overall shape of the head. And I think something around the bottom left preset looks okay. Then we can move through other areas of the face and reshape the facial features and completely change the default look that we started with. And once you're happy with the mix, click the Start Mixing again, and that basically applies everything. Now, after the mixing is done, you can still refine individual parts using the click and drag morphs, just like we did before. I like to push things slightly beyond, let's say, the realistic proportion. That's just my preference, and I think it adds a little bit of personality. You can hover over different parts of the face and drag to fine-tune the areas and refine the volumes and all of that after the mixing. It's a really fun process and, small changes like pulling the eyes slightly apart or things like that already make the design feel much more unique. So before tweaking the base mesh further, I like to test the facial expressions and make sure that everything moves well. So from the Modify tab under the Motion section, you can click on Edit Facial. This opens up a new window where you can select parts of the face, like the jaw, and with the middle mouse button, just click and drag to see the movement. CC5 also includes this dynamic wrinkle feature, which is absolutely fantastic. As you push the expressions, or let's say the controller here, like the smile or a frown, wrinkles will appear naturally, giving you so much more lifelike feel. And I think it's especially more noticeable when you adjust the eyebrows. So expressions like surprise or maybe anger really shows off the dynamic wrinkles in action. Now, before we send this base to ZBrush, I also like to tweak the skin texture just so that it feels more like a creature and less like a regular human. So from the Modify window, click on the fourth icon. This is the one with the little paint palette. And this is where you can adjust the skin details with some powerful tools. I'm going to focus on the face since the body will be covered by the suit that I'm planning to create. So let's take the Activate Editor. And now you can see the skin base setup and all of the resources. You can start with a preset like, the body type, but I'll keep it neutral so that I can quick things manually and generally create something more unique. I'm going to adjust the base color using things like the brightness and the hue, the saturation sliders, all of that. And the aim really is for kind of like a yellowish tone. I'm not entirely sure, but I think this will work with what I'm planning to do with the sci-fi suit. So I like the vibrant, more saturated colors that immediately pushes the design or the idea towards a much more stylized look, which is kind of like what I like, but it's totally up to you. You'll notice that the lips don't change or don't update when you change the color of the face. That is because they use a different material ID. So you can collapse the head and tweak the lips ID, in a similar way with the similar settings. And it's just a bit of a trial and error in this case until you get exactly what you want. Once the face looks good, you can click on the Update button here at the top right. This applies the changes that you made to the face, but to the entire body automatically, which is really handy. Some parts like the lips or certain body areas might not update since, again, they use separate materials or separate IDs. So I'll just speed up this process. It's just a matter of like selecting the right material from the dropdown and adjusting each one of them individually. But once you're done, go ahead and uncheck the Activate Editor to consolidate all of the edits and all the changes. And that basically bakes all the changes into the textures. That's it. We are now ready for the next stage. We're going to be creating some assets and adjusting the base mesh to make this character very, very unique. So go ahead and click on the Scene tab and then select your character, in my case, the HD Aaron character. And I'm going to click on this Go See icon here at the top, the one with the ZBrush logo and the arrow. And this will open up the Go See settings. Since I use this quite a bit, I already had a project linked to it. So that's why the dropdown or the template, it says relink, but that's not probably what you're going to see. So make sure that in the template, it just says create. Leave the rest as the default. Just make sure that the pose is set to A pose. You can, try the T pose if you want to, but I think the A pose is a bit more natural and it would work a little bit better in ZBrush. That's it. Go ahead and click on the Go See button and CC5 will prepare everything to send the mesh to ZBrush. Done. With one click, the character is now in ZBrush and all the normal map information that we had in CC5 has now been applied as a sculpting high frequency detail into a layer or a sculpting layer. So that's really, really cool. These high frequency details that are in a separate layer, by the way, you can adjust them or you can tweak, let's say, the intensity, or you can remove them altogether if you don't need them. And of course, we have subdivision level, so you can switch back and forth between the lowest to the highest subdivision level. All right, one final thing is that if your brush size feels a little bit tiny, even if you push it all the way up to the maximum, which is around 1000, that's just because of character creator's skill. So to fix it, just go to the preference palette here in ZBrush and open up the draw subpalette. And we're going to set the max brush size to 5000, so to the maximum. And also the dynamic brush scale, we're going to move it from 1 to 50. So just put a value of 50 and that'll be it. Now you can use much larger brushes comfortably, and that allows you to make more like proportional editing and that sort of thing. All right, so that's it for this introductory video of the series. We are all set now to move into the sculpting part, asset creation, texturing, and of course, rendering in the next videos of this series. I'll see you there.